Hello and welcome to Red Deer Polytechnic, and I am Denise Childs and I am the instructor for INTP 1102, and this is Anatomy and Physiology for Healthcare Professionals. You are section E. It's Anatomy for Healthcare Professionals because it will be taken by other diploma courses such as the Pharmacy Technician and also the Occupational Therapist course. So I teach 3 different sections of you. Let me show you a little bit about what we're going to do today. So in this video, I want to introduce you to a little bit about me, which I've sort of done, my name. You'll find out more about me later. Then I'm going to show you how to get on Blackboard, do what I call the resource drive, introduce you to the textbook. Now on Wednesday, we will get right into class. So before Wednesday, please get on Blackboard. If you have not, if you do not have a Gmail account, and actually best to start a Gmail account, not your personal one, but one just for RDP, I put things on a Google Drive, and that way it's easier for you to access. So you'll need that. Then we'll talk about a textbook, and then we'll talk about looking at the textbook. So first off, how to get into Blackboard. Now, when you go online, the thing about Blackboard is it works better on Google Chrome. So start on Google Chrome, and then to begin with, just log in the Red Deer Polytechnic. Now this is a long, complicated way, so it's best if you make bookmarks. And I don't know if you're familiar with this annoying way to log in, but you do. Let me introduce you. So you start with your username, which is usually your first name and your last name, and then my password. And to make it something you can type in, don't let the computer set it as a strong one, because you have to use it a lot. And then you have to do the old check with your phone and identification. And look at that, you're seeing my, there we go. So I'm doing the face check there. Now, when you get on, sorry about that. It's very confusing to begin with, and it will start you on different things and get you all sorts of different places. These are what are called cards. Now, the easiest thing to do is just set it up as a favorite. Okay, so I upgraded the open Blackboard. Now, if you go along this address line and go all the way to the right, there is a star. And if you click on that star, it will get you to the book, it will bookmark it, so it's easier for you to find. Now, most of this is tricky to follow. The most thing you will pay attention to is your courses. The activity does not always get the dates right. The calendar is not always correct. Messages, please do not message me this way because I can only get it. We'll talk about emailing me through messages. And these grades also do not set up. So the main thing you're looking for is the courses. And you click on the courses here, and then it will take you to your current courses. And your current courses here is the one we're looking at, which is INTP section E. Now, when you open it up, okay, you will see here is, and this is at the student mode. So this is the way you will see it. Let me move it so I've got more page here. You will go to the home page. You'll start on the home page, and this is where I have any announcements. Blackboard help is only if you need it. The lockdown browser we will look at because you need that for writing tests. Start here is where I want you to start. So if you click on start here, there's a bit of a welcome that describes me. Notice that here is my email address. Please email me directly. I usually answer pretty quick, but I technically say within 24 hours. I'm pretty good at it. It goes right to my phone. So using that will get to me pretty quick. Also, please feel free to talk to me before and after class, and that will be the way we communicate. Good. So as you go through, there's the browser check. That's important to make sure your technology works. And please use Chrome. It works best for that. Now, next one is the course outline. We'll go over the course outline in the first class because it has a lot of policy that's important you understand. Then we will look at here's your textbook that we're referring to. We'll talk a little bit more about the textbook later. Notice this is the 4th edition and it needs to be by Thompson. Might as well mention it now. The textbook can be either bought through the bookstore, and I'll show you how to do that, or there is a Facebook marketplace, Facebook page called RDP Textbooks, where you can probably get an old copy. This is a brand new version. You can use an older version, but the page numbers are not the same, so it'll make you crazy. It would be better to buy the newer version and then sell it next fall, because you can get your money back there. A little bit to watch on how the textbook, on organization and resources for your textbook. Now, this is important, our schedule. So we meet Mondays and Wednesdays. We will start this Wednesday and we will get right into class. Now, there are 10 units and 10 quizzes. There's no final exam, and the quizzes are written outside of time. I'll show you how you can access this later. But the quizzes are written in what I call a writing window on the weekend. The writing window starts from 8 a.m. on Friday and goes to Sunday at, that should be 3 p.m. Sunday at 3 p.m. And then your tests are only an hour long, and you write them during that time. And you need to, we'll discuss this more in class, but their first test starts next weekend, on the September the 12th weekend. So we need to get organized on that right away. Okay, so there is your schedule. Again, I'll go into more detail, but this has every single topic and the unit that, or the units that involved with it, and you will pretty much know everything that is going on. Here are your test dates. Okay, and a little bit on studying here. Now, another thing I want you to be aware of is what I call the resource drive. I use Google Docs to work through the information. So because you have such a busy term, I pretty much create a worksheet for you to work through. So if you go into this resource drive, here is the resource drive here, and it works best if you have a Google account. And if you already have a personal Google account, please create a new one just for school, so that way it doesn't get messed up. Here is the course outline that we referred to. Here is your copy of the schedule. Here is instructions in case I say how to do this too fast. So in the in-class resources folder, you have what I call a reading guide. And if you click on this reading guide, you will see that I have broken down everything from unit 1. Unit 1 is 3 days. And we cover it in 3 days. Oh, first off, how to get your very own copy of this. Do not click the share button. You go to File. Then you go to Download. File, Download. And then if you create a Microsoft version, a Microsoft Word version, you can type in this on your very own and add notes to it. Now, if you are a typer, you can fill this in by typing it. Or if you want, download it, print it up, and you can write on it old school. Okay, so this is the document that I use. It is a beautiful study guide, and it shows what we do each class. So for an example, on Wednesday, we are going to go over expectations, a bunch of stuff, and then we are going to start right into Unit 1. And Chapter 1, Unit 1, I've got sort of some tables to fill out, questions, terminology, And usually if it is in this document, it is testable. I also put links to the resources I use in class, so that way you can come back and look at it later, okay, or in advance. Now, this material goes very fast, so if I'm going too fast, it is best that you download this and give it a quick scan before you come to class, and then even fill things in. I've got diagrams. Anyway, I'll talk more about that in class, but the important thing here is for you to be able to access this resource drive. So again, if we go back, the resource drive is found on what I call the left-hand side of the toolbar. Is it going to take me back? You never know where, when you click back, where you're going to go. Okay, so the left-hand side, the left-hand toolbar. So here is the resource drive here. If you don't have a Gmail or a Google account, here's a link that'll show you how to do the Google account. Okay, so that is a bit of Blackboard. Oh, we need to talk about Unit 1. So on Blackboard, in just a minute here, let me get to Blackboard again. On Blackboard, I have each one. I've opened Unit 1 and opened Unit 1 and Unit 2 already. We only take 2 or 3 days for each unit. And then here's a section where you will do quizzes. And the information here is, here's where your quizzes are. I will be posting a practice quiz, so that way you can see what it's like to write a quiz on what I call the lockdown browser, which means that you do not write quizzes in class. You write them in a secure environment on the computer, and it's all answered, and you usually have your grade within a few minutes, and then the next day on class, probably Monday, we'll go over the next thing I want to go over is called the Blackboard Lockdown Browser. Now, if you're overwhelmed, you can deal with this next week, but usually in the first week of class, there is a lot going on, so you don't need the lockdown browser for the first couple of days, but you'll need it for the exam starting the weekend of the 13th. Let me get here. Okay, so back on what I call the left-hand toolbar is lockdown browser information. And this is how to set up your computer to write tests online. So look at this when it's convenient. Now, there is a library page which will guide you through it, because depending on your type of computer, it will depend on what lockdown browser you load. So the lockdown browser is the program used to go through your, to write tests through. And it is important that you get the lockdown browser. If you have Windows or if you have Mac, click on either of those. And if you are using a Chromebook, you need to go up here and look at the Chromebook instruction. So it is important you use the right browser for the right window. For the right computer. And then go through and follow the instructions, and it will tell you how to do it on a Chromebook or on an iPad. And it is very important you download the correct program for the correct type. And that will take you through the lockdown browser. Then the lockdown browser will allow you to write tests. And I will give a link to a practice test come probably Wednesday, if not the following week, because you're usually pretty overwhelmed. So that's the lockdown browser. Okay, so we've talked about Blackboard, we've talked about the resource drive. Just a quick discussion about the textbook, and I use the textbook a lot. So this is what the textbooks look like. There are 2 of them. I have online textbooks. So there is the current one. This is the 4th edition, but if you find one like this, the 3rd edition will work. But please realize in the 3rd edition, the pages are all mixed up, and there's a couple of chapters that have been reworked. If you can probably find a really cheap version of this one, but if you can, purchase the 4th edition because the changes in page numbers may make you a little crazy. The easiest way to determine your textbooks is to go to the RDP bookstore. And if you go to the bookstore website, you will, it's really hard to find, but if you look somewhere here, it does say start shopping. And then you click at the top on the textbook page right up here. And to get your textbooks, so what it does is it's RDP, and I just put in INTP 1102, and oh, it's section E, but you're all the same section. And then when you find it, you will see the material is here, and it will take you to the textbook here. And the textbook is $129 for a paperback copy. You can also get an online copy, I think through Amazon. I'm not sure which. If you do purchase a brand new paper copy, you can probably resell it within a year. So that will tell you what your textbooks will be. Okay, so that was a bit longer than I wanted, but I wanted to get you organized. So on the first class, which is Wednesday, get on Blackboard, get a Gmail account if you do not have one, and download the reading guide, find a textbook, and if you have extra time, either look at the lockdown browser stuff or start scanning your textbook and fill out the reading guide that you find in your resource drive. Great, so that is a little longer than I wanted, as I said, but that is a good way to get you oriented, and I will see you Wednesday at 8:30 a.m. in class. Take care.